You turn to God from idols to serve a living and true God and to await the coming down from heaven of his Son, whom he raised from the dead, Jesus, who delivers us from the wrath to come. It has puzzled theologians all through the centuries whether St. Augustine has it right when he talks about the massa damnata, that is, that the huge mass is lost, and whether the Lord's words about only a few being saved means that in fact the proportion of those lost is massive and proportionally huge compared with those who are saved, or whether it is a Semitic hyperbole. We don't need to know. What we do need to know is that the risk of not getting there is a real one. And we need to behave as though we were at huge risk and that everyone else was as well. It's healthier that way. Think of the care that you take of your body, even your teeth, checkups. Well, this week, through divine providence, I was able just to think about what matters and what matters less, or precisely about this issue, and to hear, as it were, the heartbeat of the world. A quiet retreat, even though one might give it oneself, is nevertheless a grace. Even when teaching others, the word comes back to you, is it not true? You teachers will know that full well. But do it in a place where there's no communication at all, but only looking at Jesus in the host, day and night, the sound of beautiful chanting, no contact whatsoever in any shape or form with the outside world, and then you've got head-on collision with truth, with no distraction possible. The very thing that old Nick hates. We have a grace in our time, a great cardinal who's head of one of the most important dicasteries, that of our own worship, Cardinal Robert Sarah, who actually a few months ago was sitting in the very place where I was sitting last week, because he gave a conference also to that community, to priests in the area, and he talked about a few things which mattered and we need to hear. He's aware. And I'd like to share some of his thoughts on what right now is damaging most of all our soul, our time, our existence. It's noise. There is a whole education to going inwards. We can't make abstraction of the physical. Why? The soul, for the moment, is encapsulated in the physical and surrounded by it, and we perceive all through it. After death, it's quite different. And even people who in this life have been completely blind from birth, once they die, see things for the first time, because they don't depend on the senses. It's happened in NDE. People who die in operations who are blind, who for the first time see with their soul, but they come back and they're blind again. And by the way, those who have had that experience will tell you that the soul is far more receptive without the body. It's direct. And that's why, by the way, it's its own judge 1 second afterwards. It sees its truth and where it would go if it went to God at that point. There's no more distraction. So let's begin with the eyes, the windows of the soul. The silence of the eyes consists of being able to close one's eyes. Can we do that, honestly? Can we close the eyes? I noticed actually that a priest on this retreat was closing his eyes for most of the retreat. He was listening with his soul. Twice over, I'd say. So, the silence of the eyes consists of being able to close one's eyes in order to contemplate God who is in us, in the interior depths of our personal abyss. Images are drugs that we can no longer do without, because they are present everywhere and at every moment. Our eyes are sick, intoxicated. They can no longer close. The ears. It is necessary to stop one's ears too. How many people one encounters on the road jogging along? A good exercise in itself to keep the weight down, but what are they doing? They've got their ears plugged to some other entity. They can't be alone, even when in nature. If you put some people in your car, the first thing they will do is put on the radio. So, it is necessary to stop one's ears too, because there are sonic images that assault and violate our sense of hearing, our intellect and our imagination. It is difficult for us not to hear this world that is constantly gesticulating, seeking to stun and daze us, so as to abandon us like ships wrecked on the reefs, or common useless scraps cast up on the shore. Now you listen to the average background music and chatter which everyone has to listen to in a public place now, like radio, and it's the epitome of emptiness. The happy-clappy, the kind of apparent joviality which is quite artificial, because life is not like that. Anything is said, the quality is very low in some of these chats. Oof. And that's all the people have for hours on end in their day, even their working day. That's bound to impact on their soul and their interior life. The tyranny of the image forces man to recognize, or rather, to renounce the silence of the eyes. Humanity itself has turned to the sad prophecy of Isaiah, seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. Now, there's a whole teaching in that volume of Cardinal Sarah on the Power of Silence about the education of the soul. We leak. We do not have to always engage in every possible conversation, nor do we have to always give 101% to every conversation if present at it. There are ways of going through life with God and not totally plunged into what we're doing. It's the teaching also of the imitation of Christ. A way of, let's putting it, being contemplatives. Because every soul inhabited is invited to contemplation. Why? We have Jesus in us. It's logical. We never talk to him. We're too busy emitting on the outside. And so as day by day I got into this retreat, it hit me. There are a few tricks. One is, every thought that comes into one's mind to do something, to say something, to send some message, do we have to? Because it will have consequences. And one word was coming throughout the retreat, which I share with you. Simplicity. Simplex fac cor meum, says the psalm. Make my heart simple. Simplicity is bent in one direction, sumplex, and therefore channeled. We don't have to do everything possible in this life. We have a choice. Do we want to be interior souls or completely exteriorized? If we want to be interiorized, we can actually have a better life. We don't have to know all the news, it will happen anyway. We don't have to be addicted to every latest message. It will come in due course. We gain by that huge new areas of space in which we can calm down. And life calmed down is of a different order. It feels things, it picks things up, and Jesus can get through. I just leave it with my friends. This is nearly the close of the year, I mean the liturgical year, and it's a time to think, especially in November still, of this full stop. What do I want to have done by the end? I can see it now, my life going through me, before me. I can see my last moment. If I carry on as I am, I will be on the outside of my soul. I will have done many things, many things, perhaps for God. But I will have missed that intimacy all those years. And at this last point, there's no coming back, ever, ever.